So my love affair with Fantasy Life, The Girl Who Steals Time, is ongoing. That game is incredible, but there are 10 things that I think would have been really helpful to know either before I played it or even during if I hadn't quite figured them out. So firstly then, the time travel mechanics. They're not just gimmicks, they're actually intrinsic to the gameplay. Some of your actions in the past will directly affect the present. This may influence the island's restoration, NPC relationships, and even some quest availability. In the past, you'll obviously be doing a lot of the same things like gathering resources, recruiting companions, and most of those, if not all of them, will be essential in some way to how you restore the present day island, even if it's just down to the materials that you can only find there, or certain allies that are essential for its reconstruction. Not only this though, the time travel mechanic is tied to the narrative. Some of your actions in the past will reveal certain pieces of information or subtle clues that allow you to build up the picture of what happened. A good example of this is someone like Rem. Now, I don't want to spoil it, but there are certain things that you can do there that may slightly alter some of the narrative direction. In this regard, it's another area where Fantasy Life is absolutely massive and much deeper than first meets the eye. Now, while everything in the past doesn't directly alter things, so some of the actions are more linear, what they have done is made trips to the past feel consequential. Number 2 then, the 14 lives are more interconnected than you might think. Now right at the start of the game, you're given quite a bit of freedom as to which lives you take on in which order, and once you've taken them on, you unlock new skills and abilities, and you can switch between the 14 unique jobs, such as the paladin, cook or woodcutter, whenever you want. But the thing that I didn't realize when I first started was how much they each rely on one another. With that in mind, what I would have done if I were to go back and replay from the beginning is spend my first 10 hours just unlocking every single job. I'd do the tutorials on each so that I could actually get that experience, because a couple of the combat classes I just skipped through and went straight to the stage where you've got them unlocked. But a good example of how they've connected these together would be something like the miner providing materials for crafting for the blacksmith, who would then feed those tools to the hunter class. One thing I will say is if you're interested in getting money quite quickly, then a class like the angler, aka the fisherman, that's a good one because catching fish is easy, it's very fast, and you can sell those for a bit of bunts. Overall though, the interconnected nature of those 14 lives was a little lost on me, I think, for around about the first 20 hours. Number 3, perhaps more obvious, is that the excellent gathering mechanic is a complete game changer when you're resource farming. You are made aware of this quite quickly. Essentially, if you're cutting down a tree or destroying a rock for minerals, this mechanic is basically where landing a strong final hit on a resource node, whether that's a tree or a piece of ore, it gets you those bonus materials. Accumulated over time, this will save you so much time, and a lot of those tertiary quests will actually require you to have this ability, or at least to use it well. So yeah, when you get to that little instruction about the excellent gathering, make sure that you actually listen to it and then do it across the board. Number 4, during chapter 4 of the storyline, you'll unlock what are known as treasure groves. It's all tied to that massive Deku looking tree, the part in which you unlock your farming skills. And to grow a treasure grove, they are essentially planted. Now I'm really keen not to spoil them, but what it amounts to are replayable, procedurally generated dungeons. There's a real combat focus in them, and every time you clear them, they change their layout, the different challenges that you can get, and they are more centered towards players that really want that combat emphasis. There are designated spots where these can be planted on your island within your base camp, and you'll work through floors, clearing out enemies, choosing different paths, with the difficulty scaling the further you go. Now I mentioned the usefulness of unlocking all lives before, and certain floors might require certain life skills. You can also tackle those groves with your NPC companions, and I believe they can actually be tackled online as well. There are groves that you can find when you're in multiplayer online games, but a key takeaway as well is if it gets too tough and you want to keep the things that you've gathered, make sure to actually give up. In the weird pad on the second page, you'll be able to exit without losing any of the progress. There's a ton more detail as well. If you've got a few friends that play the game, exploring a friend's grove can reward you with a certain something, but you will need to be prepared when you go into these. All in all, they're a lovely mechanic. Number 5, and that's multiplayer. It has its limits, but I do still enjoy local co-op. Now, online multiplayer is really fun. You'll be exploring the different dungeons or gathering with friends, but there are more restrictions than potentially you think when you look at the gameplay. For example, you can't progress in certain life quests in online mode, although I believe there are some changes being made, or may have even already been made, where the developers are looking into this. And perhaps the strangest one is that the sessions actually are timed, and when you reach the end of that time, you're kicked out almost to the lobby area where you and your friends can decide whether you want to carry on or break up the party. Now, the local co-op is a little more hidden, and I can imagine people not even discovering this. It is briefly explained to you early on in the game, but one of you gets to play as Trip the parrot. It's another area that I think they should expand on, because Trip has a very limited range of abilities, but the beauty here is that that bird can join you on your actual main quest. Number 6, and this is the one we will see the most of online, I think, with players really getting to grips with it, and it's that there's a strong terraforming set of tools that will let you sculpt your island in much more detailed ways than first meet the eye. You can reshape its very landscape, create mountains where there weren't, hills, valleys. You can make the layout of your village much more efficient. But it is very slow going early on. It just takes a long time. You'll have to unlock quite a few things before you actually have the full capabilities of it. So don't be put off. Sometimes those kinds of things can be overwhelming to the point where you don't come back to them. You have this massive golem that basically does it for you. You're in control of them. You can see their arms on the screen. But yeah, keep coming back to it, seeing what you've unlocked, because you will be passively unlocking things that can help out in that area as well. But yeah, way deeper than I thought. Number 7, I didn't realize how funny the cast were going to be. Now, as someone who didn't play, well, I think I may have played a very small amount of the early Fantasy Life games. Glen played a load of it. I wasn't expecting the quirky characters. Like Edward the archaeologist, he's cracking. You've got Trip the sarcastic parrot, but it's the dialogue. It's actually quite cutting at times. And then ridiculous things happen that catch you off guard, that feel a bit weird, but they add a lot of charm and personality to Fantasy Life I that I just wasn't ready for. If you're looking from the outside, you might go, oh, it's going to be a really cutesy adventure where everyone's just sunshine and rainbows to each other. It's simply not the case. Some of the things that characters will say are absolutely savage, and I loved it for that. I think it's a great touch. Now, number 8, I did actually realise this, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to say I didn't realise, because otherwise it would be a bit weird, but some of you may not. Crossplay actually exists and functions within the game, and that's for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and I think PC. But the area I wasn't actually aware of is the fact that cross-save is a part of the game as well. But you will need an Epic Games account for that cross-save functionality. But you won't need one for just playing with people online across various platforms, and if you'd rather just play with people on the Nintendo Switch, you can actually disable cross-play with its own checkbox. A few things you will need an active Nintendo Switch online subscription. Obviously, each player is going to need their own copy of the game on Switch, but if you have 4 friends, I think you can actually do this one locally through local wireless as well. Now, I did mention that the questing system is slightly nerfed when you're playing online, but there's a patch due very shortly, if it hasn't come out already, that's going to improve that. The only caveat with the cross progression though is if you own, say, the digital deluxe edition on one version and then the standard edition on another, any extra content that's only accessible in the deluxe will not be available for you in that other realm. Number 9, inventory management. It can be a bit of a pain at times, but there are certain things that you need to know. Firstly, certain resources, things like shells and herbs, you can store an absolutely unlimited amount of those within your inventory. But if you're someone who likes to craft their own gear, different items and equipment, they have much more strict maximum limits that you have to abide by. But I got that a little bit conflated myself, so I ended up panicking about picking up certain resources, thinking that my inventory was going to be maxed out. Probably something that most people won't do, but I am actually playing a lot of games at the moment that have really, how do I put this nicely, annoying inventory management, to the point where I'm just conscious of my inventory all the time. So that threw me off a little bit. For most people, I think your inventory management will be okay. Last but not least then, number 10. I did know this, but you may not. The game, while it looks so cute and cozy, is absolutely massive. Not only in terms of scale and the amount of different islands that you can visit, but in its length. It's huge. You can expect to spend at least 50 plus hours on the main story campaign, with hundreds and hundreds if you're someone that likes to be a completionist. But even then, realistically, if you want to complete the game, in air quotes, you're going to have to get really to grips with the online functionality and your town base building. It has all of the depth of a big RPG, with all of that slower paced, relaxing stuff from something like Animal Crossing. Fantasy Life I, the Girl Who Steals Time, is such an incredibly good game. It's massively addictive. I think it will surprise a lot of people. If you're interested in picking the game up, you can actually use our discount code for the physical edition over at PlayAsia. I bought a couple of copies. I've just seen actually today that the shipping notification came up. There's information in the description. If you don't want to do that, don't worry about it. But I know there's a lot of people that want a physical with English on there. Thanks to our Patreons, all of you that enjoy the content. Let me know down below if you've been playing this one, or if, as I said at the start, your head has been turned away from the backlog for a few moments. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!